Hi everyone, welcome back to Beach Angel Tarot. I am here to do what is your story for the month of June 2026, and I hope all is going well for everyone where you're at. So we're going to get a opening message or so, and then we're going to use, of course, the love story deck to do this reading. And yeah, so we're going to get right in it. We're going to get right started on our June energy as a collective. For those that are guided to this reading, guiding the angels, Archangel Michael, the guide and protector of time and space. And we're going to get some opening vibe energies from this and see where we go. I'm going to get these cards over here ready. And we have a plan. So things are kind of coming into focus, into structure this week, working on like there's a reassessment, there is a reflection kind of feeling instantly coming, of course. Making plans, seeing the future, making changes. So it's like a period of like just kind of pausing and tweaking the plan, where you want to go, what's going to happen, how you see things unfolding, and you may be able to start to see what your next move is going to be, where things are leading you. Because a lot of times we can go through, like, even if we have a plan, we're working towards it, but we really can't see how the next phase is going to roll out. I feel June is going to be a big month in allowing you to kind of see what's needed and what's going to be happening next, if you will. And then if anything needs adjusted or changed to make it happen. So it's like a pausing, readjustment kind of thing, but also a new awareness of how things are going to kind of unfold coming forward for you. Who are you in your story? So we're going to ask it in that way. Who are you in your story in June, besides implementing plans and seeing the bigger picture, if you will? We have unity. So I feel like who you are is someone that has things together. You may not be feeling very scattered. You may be feeling pretty sure of yourself. I feel like, and again, with the plan and the birds kind of there, it's like bringing everything together. It's like you're starting to kind of see, okay, I see where this is going now, or I see why that happened, even if it didn't seem to benefit me at the time. It's kind of like that bridge of incidents. You're on it, but you don't see it until you're on the other side of it. And you go, even that detour, that thing that seemed that bad, it was to get me to where I need to be, if nothing else, energetically, internally, so I can hold it. So you've come into kind of oneness within yourself, where you're able to kind of hold the plan now. You're able to kind of anchor it in energetically, where before, if you were coming from a place of lack or insecurity or uncertainty, you could maybe start to get the plan implemented, but then it would fall apart. I see here who you are in June of 2026 as someone that has kind of done that inner work, have come to that realization that it's your energy vibration that is allowing you to keep and hold what it is that you're creating, or you're the one that is, not vibrating at the level of understanding and internally being able to hold that. So it's like you're saying you want it, but inside you feel like you are unsure that you can maintain it or keep it going, or if that's even you. You haven't come into the full understanding that that's who you are. Here in June, I feel like you have come into that wholeness and that unity with the plan, and you're able to implement it and kind of see, like I said, with reflective back to like how and see why that didn't pan out, because internally you weren't holding that within yourself as who you are, and now you're seeing yourself as that in its entirety. So there's a strength here too. I'm doing this because I feel like I've come into wholeness within myself, or the plan I want for my future, and now I can see that I am that person. I am capable. I already have it, if you will. Creation is finished. You're coming more into that understanding of who you are as energy, and you're able to hold that and vibrate in that way to contain that. So there's a surety, sure of yourself, not in a haughty way, but in a very positive, healthy way. So who or what is blocking you from moving to the next chapter in your story? And we have Frozen. And it's interesting because frozen can be seen as an obstacle, but I almost see it as a bridge as well. I see it as a, we like water to be, of course, liquid and flowing, and we can drink it and take it in. But frozen is also a positive in a way where you're able, it's solid. You're able to walk on it, or stand on it, or most likely if it's super frozen, don't go on thin ice, of course. But I see it too as not so much, it is an obstacle, yes, perhaps in a way, but I feel like it's, and we see the butterfly here, so there's a transformative energy within the obstacle itself. So what is blocking you? It could be feeling like things are stagnant or not moving or kind of frozen or in a winter season, if you will. But it's, again, all in the perspective. See it as the stepping block. See it as the stepping stone, because frozen, you can still step on it. You can still walk on it. We're seeing birds in this scene. So it could be the obstacle is frozen communication for some that, maybe you're not talking to the right people. People are not getting back to you. Those important conversations aren't being had right now. But again, I don't feel like this is a huge or a long-lasting obstacle, so it doesn't feel like a permanent or a big thing that you're going to have to work through. So yes, it's an obstacle, but with its own advantages, if you will. So I like seeing that. So in other words, it will thaw. Things will move again. Try to focus on it being a positive in this moment. Sort of like I said here, being able to look back and see the things that didn't work or why it didn't work, come down to an understanding or a realization that energetically you were doubting it. Energetically you were having internal conversations of, the plan failing perhaps instead of coming together. And now in June, you're realizing that internal dialogue was actually determining the outcome that you're going to experience. And so when you're standing strong with the internal knowing that, again, you have it, you're the creator, everything is, creation is finished, standing more than knowing that it's already established, and you just have to energetically align with that internally. So kind of seeing it differently. So putting a positive spin on what could be perceived as a obstacle is going to be beneficial, because the obstacle, yes, is there in one way, but in another, it's temporary, it's yielding, and can be seen as a not an obstacle, as a stepping stone, if you will. The previous chapter of our story, what has led us up to now in regards to this? Confidence. So right along in alignment with what I just said. In the beginning, we were just, and I just recapped that. So the previous chapter is, you growing in that confidence again, and realizing it's not so much the actions you take or the actions you don't take, but more of who you are internally, who you are energetically, who you are in those dialogues within your mind about who you are and how you see yourself in relation to what it is you want and to others around you. What are those little conversations that are running in your mind? They're changing, they're becoming more on your side, right? They're more of things that, you would say to a good friend instead of, you'd say something very positive to a good friend or somebody you love. But on the other hand, in the same situation, you'd go home and you would slay yourself in your mind. There's the difference. So what has led up to this is you've kind of changed that. We have changed that dynamic, and we are growing stronger in those internal understandings of who we are and those conversations. Because it's the internal dialogue that's steering the boat. I've come to realize, and I've learned, it's that internal dialogue and how we see ourselves and who we are that's kind of running the energy and what we're going to experience down the road. We kind of keep planting the seed of what's next to experience. And when those internal seeds are negative and doubt and fear, and seeing ourselves as maybe non-worthy or incapable, if is a word that comes up, and those are all fear-based. That's the kind of stage you're setting to experience. So what is led up is the opposite of that. We've kind of learned to see that difference and growing stronger in that knowing. And so it's going right along with that. And again, it's even to the degree of being able to recognize this frozen period as holding is holding a purpose. Winter always is holding a purpose to allow things to regenerate, to allow them to gain strength to sprout again in the spring, right? So everything has its purpose. So instead of seeing it as a negative, reframe it internally, right? It's all that internal dialogue, and say, okay, you could be looked at as a glass half full or half empty. I'm going to look at the half full versus the half empty side of it. And so that grows in strength and confidence energetically. Where you are in this story right now, present chapter. So confidence is growing back there, and who we are right now in this moment, present chapter. And we have nurture. So you're kind of tending to that. You're nurturing that. It could even be nurturing the inner child, if you will. And that inner child, I call it like the inner child, the egoic part of ourselves can, the one that wants to keep us safe or is, fearful of the unknown, can kind of cause that, erratic things to kind of unfold for us. But you're nurturing the inner dialogues, the inner understanding, and kind of tending to that on the path. And again, for some, this could be connected to inner child work specifically, but I feel like it's just in tandem with everything I had said up to this point. So that's where you're at. You're nurturing that ability to kind of continue to bolster yourself in understanding who you are and what is creating your next experience. So it's kind of reframing that internal story or dialogue that is, fueling the emotion that then is fueling the next stage. Everything has its, one to the other and is connected, and then you experience it. So you're nurturing that. So it may be for some you're new to it, and then new to the understanding, most likely since we're seeing here in June that, we're becoming stronger. We felt that strength back there. I kept doing that. And so you're just nurturing this little by little. So it may be even little baby steps. Maybe you're just testing it out in little ways instead of on like this big project or this big thing. Maybe you're just dabbling in it with little smaller things to see how it works, the positivity, and then the next positive thing and the next positive thing, and then it just kind of snowballs into more positivity. I'm not saying we won't have bad days or you can't have a negative thought here and there. It's the continuum. It's what you continually feed yourself, or how you talk to yourself, and you can instantly see it. You can feel it. You feel the angst, the jaw clenching, the like, oh my gosh, I'm upset. And you kind of just think, what am I been thinking? What am I, ruminating on? I'm ruminating on a fear or a past experience that showed me that this is what happens. And then, your mind wants to take you down this path. Well, I feel like in your mind, you've gotten stronger, you've matured. And so when those other thoughts come up, you kind of lead them by the hand and you say, no, we're not going to negative land. We're coming over here to Positiveville. So we just kind of like nudging those little, more negative, unproductive thoughts along step by step. So it's like a baby step kind of process, and you're kind of nurturing it and tending to it, which I like to see. There, where you are. So that's where you're at, kind of nurturing that along, and to continue into getting stronger and more confident inside. So the next chapter in our story, if you can move past 2, which we saw, we've already turned it into a stepping stone, and we see the benefit of it, and how we can use it to our advantage. So, I don't feel like moving past the obstacle is going to be very hard, quite honestly. So the next chapter in our story, we have Nature Boy. So I feel like this is going to just becoming natural to you. So instead of like having to think about it or kind of switch thoughts or catch yourself, it's just going to become what the next chapter in your story with this energy that we're seeing, becoming stronger and implementing your plan and seeing what's actually driving the outcome, which is internal, versus any action or inaction that you take. It's going to become natural to you. It's going to become more natural. And so instead of like in the past where you thought, okay, I have to make this phone call, I have to change their mind, I have to create this, I have to do that, you're going to just go, and it's going to be more of your nature to kind of step back and reflect on it and realize that, what you've been thinking and how you've been thinking towards it is driving the larger part of the energy of your outcome. So it's going to become like a second nature to you. is what I feel this is indicating for the next chapter. So you're going to be experiencing it like, what is the word that wants to come? Like second nature is a word, but there was another feeling there. Like you're not even going to have to be thinking about it. It's just going to be like an automatic pilot kind of vibe. So you're no longer even thinking of it in terms of manifesting or creating something new out of nothing. You're going to be more in tune with the natural process of who you are, and how things work, the natural world, if you will, the laws of nature. And you're going to realize them from more of a metaphysical internal standpoint than trying to kind of like see it from the outside and manipulate things. So it's just kind of going with more of a natural flow. So there's less questioning, there's less thinking about it as a process, and just more living it naturally, but this time to your advantage, versus it's with that inner knowledge and inner knowing and that inner confidence energetically. So it's, you're just going to just see things flow more easily. You're going to be feeling less anxious, less stressful, and you're going to have less internal dialogue. So because it's the fear-based anxiety, stress, tension, I'm running out of time, I'm impatient, all that going on in your mind creates a static, it creates a noise. And when it leaves you, when you realize you don't really need to operate under that energy or that part of yourself, it becomes quiet, it becomes relaxed, it becomes a vibe, right? It's just chill. And so that's what you're going to be experiencing in your next chapter, just getting past this tiny little hurdle of what you may see as a, like I said, a setback, or miscommunication, or these types of things. It's going to thaw and it's going to flow again. And so it's just a minor, but again, already seeing it as a positive. The end of the story, this book only so many more to write. So what's the end of this story, or maybe a bit of advice? We'll see how it comes out right now. And it's work. So it's like doing the work. It is productivity, it's production, it's success, and achievement is the kind of feeling I'm getting. So you're going to attain your goal perhaps, and you're going to be in the middle of processing it, doing it, working on it, that kind of thing. So whatever the plan is, you're going to be working it. It's kind of like ending in full circle here. So whatever that plan was that you wanted to get to that maybe kept failing or falling apart due to you not energetically holding it, you're going to be able to implement it. It's going to come to fruition. You're going to experience it, but more naturally, in the way of, I got this, this is me, this is going to work. I can do this. This is who I was meant to be. Whatever it is, large or small, and you're going to be working that plan out. You're going to be experiencing it, doing it, in the 3D, if what have you. Because this is like an Eight of Pentacles. It's got like a earthy vibe to it too. So it's like it's come into reality, into reality. For some, this could be real estate even. So if you're trying to get a real estate license or something like that, and you have felt like you maybe couldn't do it, or you weren't maybe able to sustain it, or how your schedule was going to work out. All these things are doubts, and it's where we focus our awareness on what we're going to get the end experience with. So for some, this could literally be a realtor estate kind of work, but for others, it's just whatever it is that you've planned. That plan is in work and is in action in the 3D. So let's do a flower to end and get an extra vibe for our June. What positive energy are we going to experience in June with our story? Spirit, this one last final. And I will put a link to this reading below if you want your own personal story for June or for some other time. And these two fell out. And so we have stand by your commitment, stand by your plan. And it's Pink Lily. You're strong enough to keep the promise that you've made. Don't back out now. Your angels believe in you. So it's that commitment to self to keep going. And then we have raise your vibration, which is what we were talking about. Your intuitive feelings are accurate messages from the angels. The Frangipani plumeria, which I love that flower. They don't grow naturally. You can grow them here in pots, but you can't plant them and expect them to make it through the winter. It's still not quite warm enough for that, but they are beautiful flowers. So we have the lily and those, but this was completely all talking about that rise in vibration, that rise of that internal understanding, and growing stronger within it. So we see that as the completion of the reading. These colors too may be important, the pink and the yellow as signs or something, to look for in June as well. So anyway, angel blessings to everyone, oceans of love. I will put the link below to this reading. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below and I will answer you as soon as possible. So angel blessings, oceans of love.